me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls.
Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your curators. I'm Charlie.
Ooh, I'm Ella.
Hello, Justin Roiland-styled Ella.
Ooh.
Ella, do you know what episode of Gravity Falls we're covering today?
Wait, we're covering an episode of Gravity Falls today? You mean it's over?
Yes.
The hiatus is over?
The hiatus is over.
Oh.
Summerween came out October 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode we're covering today, Boss Mabel, came out February 15th, 2013. So that is a little over 4 months.
It was just, as we said last episode, completely in the dark. Only had the episode title until January 14th, when Alex Hirsch tweeted, you want to read this in Quentin Tremblay?
Sure, yeah. What do we got?
To the tweet right there.
New Gravity Falls episodes resume on 2/15. So it has been decreed.
Yeah, so then we knew.
But I was very excited for us to get to this episode, Ella.
Yeah?
Because Boss Mabel is the episode featuring the singing salmon.
Oh, you're right.
And I have pulled a couple strings in my position as a producer, and I have gotten us in touch with the real-life celebrity that the singing salmon is based on. And, Ella, he is here with us today.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I would have worn makeup or something, I didn't know.
Please welcome Big Mouth Billy Bass. Hi yourself.
Welcome. Mr. Bass, may I call you Big Mouth Billy? Okay, gotcha. All right.
Well, I guess I had a question. Did you learn that they paid a tribute to you, Billy?
Oh my god, really? That is crazy.
There is, in fact, a mounted singing fish with a Jamaican accent in this episode.
Note for note.
No, yeah, I guess it is kind of on the nose to your likeness, but
I think it's worth just celebrating the fact that they paid a tribute to you, and you don't need to really stress about the money, because that's not what it's about.
Billy, I mean, without further ado, I guess, are you ready to watch the episode?
All right, good. I'm glad that Billy's on board for watching with us. This is the 13th episode of the first season of Gravity Falls, premiering, as we said, on February 15th, 2013 on Disney Channel, directed by John Aoshima, written by Tim McKeown and Alex Hirsch, story by Tommy Rihard, I guess.
Good job on those names, Ella.
Thank you.
That last one was Rihard.
It wasn't easy, but I did it.
Friday, February 15th. Hello? Gravity Falls is back.
Yeah!
Sweet. With an all-new episode.
3 days, 72 hours. You run the shack, and I'll go on vacation.
Did you just make a bet with a professional con man?
And you won't believe
Behold!
who's taking over the Mystery Shack.
You wanted to see us, Mr. Barnes?
Stan is no longer with us.
No!
Mabel's in charge now.
Now, Mabel might turn the shack
Let's go, people!
into the scariest place in Gravity Falls.
So cold.
All new.
Dipper out!
Friday, February 15th at 9, 8 Central. Part of Night of Premieres on Disney Channel.
It's kind of nice to be back.
So, we, the three of us and Mr. Big Mouth, Mr. Big Mouth was my father. We just watched Boss Mabel.
Sizable oral cavity, William Pessiformes. What did you think of that episode?
Here's a little song I wrote. Might
Okay.
want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy now.
Yeah, I'm realizing that even though he is a master songwriter and overall icon and influencer, he isn't a great conversationalist.
He don't know talking good like you and me. So his vocabularistics are exclusively
It's
limited to,
yeah.
here's a little song I wrote, you might want to sing it note for and note.
Exclusively in that order. This episode holds a very special place in the fandom history, but also in my own history of watching the show, because it was the return from that first giant hiatus that we talked about last week.
It must have felt surreal to be watching a new Gravity Falls.
Yeah, and especially, I think there were, as with anything, the more time you spend away from it, the greater the expectation becomes. So I think there was a lot of hype for an episode that is ultimately a lighter one.
There is not a mystery in this one. Dipper does catch a gremloblin, a creature that is half gremlin and half goblin.
There's a lot of episodes where they try to tie the supernatural element into the emotional arc.
It's not in there.
Yeah, there is no connection here. But I think now that we're a distance from the hiatus, we can appreciate it as a very, very funny episode. That's kind of what we kept coming back to.
Yeah. There are... At first, when we started watching it, I was like, there's some great jokes in here. And then I thought about it and I said, oh, there have to be.
Yeah,
There's nothing in here besides jokes. So if the jokes were not good, the entire episode would have fallen flat.
And it is not their fault that this is the episode that came after a 4-month hiatus. But I first watched it, I remember, Alex tweeted that announcement of the date, and then, that was what was on everybody's brain. That's what we were all laser focused on. And it was like maybe a day or two before, because periodically, during the hiatus, I would check the on-demand section of my cable that we had in my house to just, off chance, maybe it's on there, maybe that was naive of me to hope, but I checked periodically anyway, and then the episode got announced and it was getting very close, and it was like a morning before school where I had to leave to catch the bus to school, and I was checking on demand, and there it was. There was Boss Mabel, 1 or 2 days before February 15th, 2013. And I was like...
and they said it was just
exactly.
a legend!
And it was such a... I had, this moral crisis in that moment of, oh, should I just wait the extra... I've waited this long. Should I wait for, watch it on, when it actually airs on Disney Channel? Or I could just, watch it right now. I have time before I have to leave for school. I could watch it. And I did. I think I only got through some of it, but it was I needed the hit. I needed it. I could not wait any longer.
You were like, I don't need that pie with its soft, flaky crust and its gooey blueberry center, and no!
Pretty much. But it was enough to, I kind of didn't complete the episode just to give me more to look forward to, but I watched maybe half of it just to Gravity Falls is back. It felt really cathartic to have this episode finally.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
I know. Well, I'm just glad that this whole mess is behind us, right? This whole hiatus thing, that's done, and from here on out, it's going to be smooth sailing for Gravity Falls. Anyway.
We're a no-spoiler podcast, so we cannot confirm or deny, but those who know.
So, the episode is partly inspired by Alex's experience as a showrunner, because the concept of this episode is that Stan being particularly harsh to the employees of the Mystery Shack, including his niece and nephew, who are children. I feel like they don't really talk about that enough. But
yeah, I don't know how they're allowed to work there.
Probably not. I don't think Stan cares.
So it's just a violation of child labor laws. Okay.
It is. It absolutely is. When there's no cops around, anything's legal. So Mabel is fed up with Stan being so harsh to his employees and makes a bet that he is going to go on vacation for 3 days, and she bets that she can run the shack better than he can with compassion and kindness rather than, grunkliness.
I didn't think about this any other time I watched this episode, but oh golly, can I relate to this. So I've led many projects and have been accused in the past of being too nice to get anything done.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because I've gotten a lot done. But another thing in both Watsonian and Doylean, Stan has hired his great niece and great nephew Alex hired mostly his friends from college.
Exactly. And so he said in the commentary of this episode about how it's hard to be friends and be the boss, and sometimes being direct is actually the kinder way to run a business. And obviously Stan is a very extreme end of that, and they find a middle ground.
On this podcast, I don't feel that being nice to you is a shortcoming because you don't actually need reminders to make deadlines.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of this is going with people you want to spend time around instead of going with people who are professional.
No, but it's that there's a difference, sometimes you have friends that you want to work with that aren't really as productive as collaborators, and sometimes you have people that you do get along with and also collaborate well with. You're put into the position of, okay, make a show, staff up, and you're like, just call up everybody you know, right? Like, and that creates a very interesting workplace environment.
Like, Disney placed Rob Renzetti in there, and Kristen Shaw was insistent on Ginny McSwain coming on as dialogue director. But other than that, these are Alex's friends.
Yeah, so it makes for sometimes awkward situations if you have to make it up. And, we can both relate to this of, hey, buddy, I know you got stuff going on, but, got this little deadline coming up, and it would be great if you could...
I'm gonna be straight with the listeners. Probably just don't work with friends.
Yeah, we're a very weird exception because we are two halves of a single brain.
The easiest, I do a lot of voice direction. The easiest people to direct are not people I know super well. It's people who have been in a lot of live directed voiceover sessions.
Because I've done freelance jobs with people who are my friends, and we still had contracts and all that stuff because, like Alex said, being direct is sometimes the kinder way to do it. It does not mean that I do not trust you. It is just so that it is kinder to keep it a professional environment rather than let the two worlds blend together in a way that will ultimately not be productive.
All right, speaking of blending together, I want to talk a little bit about the Gremloblin.
Oh yeah, kind of a half gremlin, half goblin situation there.
You could not come from a more different background as far as folklore goes.
What, gremlins and goblins?
Yeah, goblins are ancient Germanic folklore. Do you know what gremlins are?
Did they not exist before the movie?
Gremlins, in the movie, there is a monster. They're called Mugwais, but at one point there is a war veteran who sees the mutated Mugwais and goes,
"Oh wait, no, yes, I know what this is. Gremlins, fix or mess up planes."
Yeah, so gremlins are not a real believed folk creature. There's no culture that believed that gremlins existed. Gremlins are a joke amongst World War II airline pilots.
Yeah, I remember there was a canceled Disney movie around that time that was supposed to be about gremlins, and they were dressed like little pilots, and we have the Twilight Zone episode that we've referenced before.
Yeah, the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, most famously. We do know, because gremlins are only 100 years old, that it would be more like if we had technical difficulties in the podcast, we could be like, the podcast monster's eating up our podcast again.
Well, clearly what's happened, there were gremlins kind of, hanging around on the planes that were in World War II, and some landed in Germany, where the goblins are, because that's where the folklore is.
And, it just started with a few drinks, they got to talking.
They had a lot in common, as it turns out. They like messing stuff up, and they like kind of, creeping around. I always think about this episode as a much more sitcom-ish feel than the other episodes, because the A-plot takes place pretty much entirely within the Mystery Shack, which doesn't really happen in any other episode. Maybe Double Dipper, but that feels different because it's not really the shack. It's the dance floor, and it's all around the shack. And this is most of it's just in the gift shop and the office. But the B plot, in which Stan is a contestant on Cash Wheel, that's how he spends his vacation, is the first time that we presumably go outside of Gravity Falls, because I don't think that's a show that films in Gravity Falls. I think it's implied that he is driving out of state somewhere.
Okay, so you saying this is a more sitcom-y episode, and me remembering that this is the only episode that Tommy Rehard is credited to.
Oh yeah, spec script, right?
This is fascinating. Tommy Rehard does not have a resume.
Yeah, he's listed as a lot of, kind of actor, writer, all that stuff.
No, so he's only acted in one thing, and he's only written one other thing, and most of his credits are producer. All of those contain a TV series known as Door to Door.
Oh.
He is the star and writer and producer of Door to Door.
Nice.
And that's one of his only other credits other than Gravity Falls. Hang on, I'm continuing down this rabbit hole. Keep saying what you were saying.
That is my association with this episode that sounds negative, and for a while I was like, oh yeah, that episode feels kind of contained, like it doesn't have that much room to breathe because we're just going around the gift shop the whole time. But now I've alluded to before, I've just kind of loosened up in general. It's like, look, it's funny, it's okay, like, it is a good episode of a good show, and I no longer have to worry about, like, but this episode didn't have any lore in it, or all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so this rabbit hole's not helping me at all.
Okay.
I can't find record that a TV series called Door to Door exists. But Tommy Rehardt's character in the TV series Door to Door is named Andy Porter. There is a 2002 television film starring William H. Macy and Helen Mirren called Door to Door about a real-life salesman named Bill Porter.
It feels like we just went in a giant circle.
Bill Porter's article mentions the 2002 film, also mentions a 2009 Japanese TV series
called Door to Door?
Yes, and mentions nothing about a 2012 American series called Door to Door.
It's Door to Door all the way down.
So I can't find record that the Door to Door TV series that gave Tommy Rehardt a writing credit and thus allowed him to come up with the story for a Gravity Falls episode exists. However, his character from Door to Door was a real man who died in Oregon.
Fascinating. What does it all mean? We've got this worked out on it's kind of our Tommy Rehard is our Pepe Sylvia.
Well, yeah, that's my question. Is he real?
Yeah, maybe not. If you are Tommy Rehard, please email us. And it does say it is specifically story by is his credit. So it was an initial idea by him.
A person who supposedly created and starred in a TV series that there's no record of its existence, wandered into Disney TVA one day and said, "Hey, what if you did one about like a Stan, Mabel have a bet of like who's the better boss?" And they're like, that's a great idea. What's your name? Tommy Rehard. And it's like, Tommy, do you want to stick around and help us write it? And they look, and he's gone. He's gone, Ella. He's not there anymore.
What's your resume look like? And he's looking around and he's like, well, I worked on a show called Door to Door. I worked on that show. I was a producer on that.
And an actor and a writer.
And they're like, oh, fascinating.
There's also a link to his website on the Gravity Falls wiki. The link is dead.
Interesting.
All right, I've reverse Google imaged the Gravity Falls wiki picture of Tommy. There is one webpage using that picture, the Gravity Falls wiki article for Tommy.
Damn. Coming up with all dead ends.
And Google's suggestions, if I want other similar images, is white collar worker.
All right.
Sorry, I've completely sidetracked the conversation, but I find this fascinating.
No, you said about how this episode didn't have any mystery in it, but I think it does. I think the mystery is about this man.
At the beginning, you struggled to place if you were pronouncing Rehard correctly. Ella, there's no way to confirm or deny.
Oh no. Oh no.
And then it's like, what? Well, it wouldn't be a Gravity Falls episode without like a monster of the week. And he was like, what if there was something that was half gremlin, half goblin, and I don't know, if you look into its eyes, you see your worst nightmare. Why am I wearing sunglasses inside? Because I'm cool.
Yeah, so that's a little tidbit about this creature, is that he just has the power to traumatize people, and Dipper traumatizes 2 people in this episode.
By treating it like a selling point.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact about this guy. Yeah, so that's great, and we're pretty sure the Gremlin is voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
It's a unfortunate fact of Kevin Michael Richardson that he has an impressive vocal range that he is never asked to use because everyone finds his normal voice so cool.
Mm-hmm, which it is. But he gets kind of his biggest amount of range in this episode so far.
I didn't even realize the game show host is him because I'm not used to him. Yeah, usually he's asked to talk deep and slow. So hearing him talk like this is not what I'm used to from him. And he is the singing salmon, which he is doing a Jamaican accent because Don't Worry, Be Happy is a reggae song
by Bobby McFerrin.
However, Bobby McFerrin is not Jamaican and it is American and did a fake accent in that song that he says he would hesitate to call Jamaican.
Yeah.
He was mostly imitating the voices he hears at his favorite Mexican restaurant.
Interesting.
So, versus Kevin Michael Richardson is actually Jamaican.
Yeah.
His father is Jamaican. So the singing salmon, the fictional singing mounted fish has a flawless Jamaican accent.
Also, the addition of a sort of Hawaiian pattern shirt and the sunglasses, I think that's a massive improvement. No offense to Billy, but I think... You want to know where he got those fresh threads? I know, right?
I love that they're just waiting for the creature to get bored and leave, but instead he just gets in a circle of pressing this singing mounted fish over and over.
He's gotta leave eventually.
I'm the singing salmon, spending all day jamming. I'm the singing salmon, spending all day jamming. I'm the singing salmon, spending all day jamming.
Why doesn't he just leave?
No, he's so fun. Like, he's not really that scary, despite the fact that he has the power to traumatize you. He can, he just kind of puts a bunch of stickers on his face and he plays with the salmon.
Your theory was that he is the result of...
Oh, right. Of the union between a gremlin and a goblin during World War II.
So his greatest fear is becoming his father. So, Ella, is he more afraid of his goblin side or his gremlin side?
That's very interesting. I feel like... So we do understand that he can grow wings and he does have the power to fly. So I think maybe he's just afraid of this legacy of ruining planes. Like, he doesn't really want to do that, He doesn't...
Yes, he also uses the singing salmon properly rather than disassembling it. Yeah, he likes to fly, and he likes using technology properly instead of ruining it.
A gremlin is sort of a World War II Noid, if it was planes instead of Domino's, instead of pizzas.
The Noid is probably based on the idea, what goblins do, primarily... Because they can't just be anti-Semitic, they also have to be ableist. The myth of goblins comes from, when your baby isn't acting like a human, but it still looks like the baby you gave birth to. And the idea is that goblins kidnap babies and replace them with goblin babies.
Mm-hmm.
And that folklore was meant to explain autism.
Not good, not great.
But also is what the goblins kidnap a baby in Labyrinth. That's the plot.
Yeah, so I think this was a goblin who, felt very maternal, but was like, I don't want to kidnap babies. I want my own child. And then met this handsome gremlin. It's like, okay, maybe we could settle down.
Yeah, Germany would definitely be where the planes were going to in World War II, so that all adds up.
Yeah, I think that's a very solid theory. I also just love back to the singing salmon, that the singing salmon is in multiple background shots. Like, it's thought out in this episode.
He spends all day jamming, Ella.
Yeah, you're right.
Not just that moment.
It's also the fact that you pointed out as we were watching the gag of adding zeros to a price, like that Stan has left space on those signs to add zeros to a price, to take 2 to 20 to 200.
Yes. He has designed his signs with price gouging in mind.
Yeah, of course he has. And those $200 snow globes that Wendy hikes up the price stay as $200 in every future episode in the backgrounds, which I think is wonderful.
Oh, that's hysterical. I didn't notice that.
The outfit that Stan wears when he goes on vacation to appear on Cash Wheel is based 1-to-1 on an outfit that Andy Kaufman wore in the film My Breakfast with Blassie, in which Kaufman talks with pro wrestler Classy Freddie Blassie. Weird. Why did they do that?
No, it makes sense because Neil Hamburger is believed by many to just either be a rip-off or a tribute to Tony Clifton, Andy's most famous character.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Hirsch was a big Neil Hamburger fan, so he's probably a big Andy Kaufman fan.
I guess that's true,
too.
yeah. I just love finding out that this film exists, for one thing.
Well, Andy Kaufman loved wrestlers.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's he kind of does comedy kayfabe.
Yeah, he is a pro wrestler in his own right.
Yeah.
Intergender wrestling champion of the world, meaning he beats up women and treats it as if he has earned a title. Because the reason Andy Kaufman watched wrestling is because he loves the heels.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He had no interest in being a face. He saw the heels and he was like, that's going to be me one day.
Yeah.
That was his dream.
And he did it.
Famously had a feud with Jerry the King Lawler. The King slapped him on television and got both of them banned from Letterman. And Jerry Lawler only revealed that was a hoax he planned with Andy in the film Man on the Moon by playing himself.
Oh, wow.
To be like, I don't know, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, it's not how he rolls. The outfit is wonderful, though.
It's very Stan and very Andy. It's a very Standy outfit.
It's very Standy. Fits perfectly with his fashion sensibilities, like in Double Dipper. He's got that open shirt with the gold chain and the chest hair. He's got it all. He's got his gold watch. And speaking of outfits, Mabel, when she reveals herself as the new boss of the Mystery Shack, has a fantastic outfit. Giant shoulder pads, giant glasses. It is the works.
And there's a horror music sting when the outfit is first revealed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame that she's not in it for the whole episode, but...
And then speaking of music, there is a montage of her. It's almost an identical montage to the one in the previous episode, huh?
What was the previous episode montage?
Working 9 to 5.
Oh, that's true. Except, well, yeah, you pointed out Waddles unfortunately got demoted. There is no upward mobility for Waddles in this field. Last episode...
Yeah, pigs can't fly.
Yes, exactly. Last episode, Waddles was clearly some kind of higher up, and now Waddles is the secretary. Waddles was telling Mavis to hold his calls, and now Waddles is holding the call for Mabel.
Oh.
But the song Large and in Charge is what it's called. Was written by Brad Breek and rewritten by Alex and the other writers to be dumber, because that's what they tend to do with Brad's songs. I think the same happened with...
Well, the same happens constantly with every song Brad writes, but interestingly, that becomes Matt Chapman's main job from here on out.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So I think this is the last episode in which it was a group effort to rewrite a song to be dumber.
And then Carmen Carter is the singer of this song, and sings it so well that it doesn't even read how ridiculous the lyrics are, because they're being sung so beautiful. You would have to read the lyrics out in text to really get that they're just like, come on girls, shoulder pads, make that money. Like, that's...
Mabel's the boss now.
I love Mabel so much. We knew this.
Yeah, it's a good Mabel episode, so it's a good episode.
And even though she doesn't, she gets an arc, it's just not tied into the Gremloblin whatsoever.
Yeah, I went on a lot of tangents today, but honestly, this is a little light one, which is interesting, because we had a bunch of really in-depth discussions lately, so it's fascinating to go to a light one.
I'm noticing how many little lines and moments from this episode are kind of famous, at least within the fandom. We've got the quote, "We put the fun in, no refunds," kind of became a signature quote associated with Grunkle Stan. We also get Seuss, we didn't even talk about Questiony the question mark. Amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing concept by Seuss. He says, I'll do the question dance. Like everybody knows what the question dance is.
I will just straight up play that clip.
Yes, please.
I tried to give him a suggestion to improve the shack once. I had this idea where I could be like the Mystery Shack mascot, questioning the question mark. I'd ask people questions, do the question dance.
But Seuss, dressed as the question mark, gets used as an attraction.
And the question mark is not a costume he puts over his body because he is not question mark shaped. So it is a costume he puts in front of his body. He sticks his neck through the head hole and then it just kind of hangs in front of him. And he had not planned an outfit. Like he's just wearing it with underwear like it were a mascot costume that goes over his clothes.
So he's not really as endearing as he expected. Lady just goes to town on him with pepper spray.
Yeah, she needs to buy new pepper spray. Like that was basically the amount that they put in one contender.
There's so many funny tourists in this episode. My favorite, little boy and mother.
Oh, what's this?
Billy, your face! It's ruined!
Yeah, the line, your face is ruined, it's just so hilariously blunt, like no one would ever react to a child.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting hurt on their face like that. It's, I can't even analyze it. It's like she's more
the amount of times that there's like the cutest possible little child that then gets emotionally hurt or physically hurt, like the, I love you, Papa! Boo! And then we have Gorney, and now we have this kid. And then we have the Stan Wrong song, which is another kind of classic moment for the fandom.
I'm Stan and I was wrong. I'm singing the Stan Wrong song. I shouldn't have taken that chance. Now here's my remorseful dance.
So, yeah, Grunkle Stan is on vacation this week. I don't know what he's doing. Don't worry about it. But I bet him that I could run the Hall of Conspiracies better than he could. And we're going to test that theory.
Alright, say it, Ella.
I'll tell you what, I'm even going to be more gender inclusive than he is. Come one, come all, to the Hall of Conspiracies! Alright, we got... This is gonna rock, okay? Because this was such a heavy lore episode that there are gonna be so many conspiracies... Okay, well... we have one.
One! Whoa! One!
I think there were more conspiracies kind of in the lead up to the episode. There were theories about what would happen, but I don't really think those go here, because they were just all over the map. So we have one from the Gravity Falls subreddit posted by u/SamanthaJ1011, who points out, in Boss Mabel, when Seuss thinks that Stan is dead because Mabel had said Stan is no longer with us, he starts crying and saying it should have been him. Could this suggest that in some way Seuss is connected to Stan aside from their boss and employee relationship? Perhaps Stan is protecting Seuss, or the other way around. Any theories?
And then a deleted user commented, maybe. I mean, anything is possible. I just think Seuss is an employee who likes his boss too much, a la SpongeBob's idolization of Mr. Krabs.
And Samantha J1011 replies, maybe there's a reason for his idolization. Perhaps they're a member of the same society that was mentioned in the Gobblewonker episode. Play that clip, I guess.
The guys from the lodge won't go with me. They don't like or trust me.
That was never really elaborated on, which is a good point.
And then Stratosphere quotes the cryptograms from Rumble's Revenge, which we have acquired clips of, and by gummit, we're going to reuse them. They say,
"The handyman knows more than you think."
Ooh. See, those are already following us around into all these conspiracies. There's also, I could not find an actual, like, theory regarding this, just kind of people pointing it out over and over again, but when they are trying to get the Gremloblin out of the shack, he catches Mabel, and Mabel looks into his eyes, and we see that her eyes start glowing yellow, just like the traumatized tourist did. But we never find out what Mabel's seeing. We never find out what Mabel's worst nightmare was. They very deliberately had a shot of her eyes glowing, but we cut away to Dipper showing him the mirror.
The cryptogram in this episode is "Heavy is the head that wears the fez," which is a reference to Henry IV, Part 2 by William Shakespeare.
You know, this show, we are very cultured in what Williams we will quote, whether that is Shakespeare or Billy Bass.
Sizable oral cavity, William Pessiformes.
Mm-hmm.
Who I think is on par with Shakespeare.
I think better, right? Because at least we know for sure that it's a little song that he wrote, right? At least there's no controversy of authorship.
And then, meanwhile, in Sonnet 116, Shakespeare directly says, "I never writ."
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. A confession.
Boy, that no one's gonna get any of that.
It's fine. We gotta keep it in. If you want to find more episodes of this podcast, go to our host network, pipedreampodcast.com, where you can find other shows like Escape from Walt Disney, How Did This Not Get Made, and Come On Fahookwapods.
And while you're there, you can find our Twitter, our Discord server, and our email, mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com. So if you have any clues to the mystery of who is Tommy Rehard,
or if you are Tommy Rehard,
reach out to us. Because we want to know you exist, and you have not proven that to us thus far.
I know you don't really owe that to anyone, but...
No.
We'd appreciate it if we knew you existed, because you seem like a really cool person.
I don't expect you to come down and be like, yes, I was real all along, any more than I expect God or Santa Claus to, but...
You just seem like a wonderful person, and it would be great if you existed.
Yeah! Ella, I feel that way about you.
Aw, right back at you.
Thanks to Brian for making the instrumental for our theme song, and thanks to Sim and the Dimbulb V2-0 for making the instrumental of the Hall of Conspiracies intro.
Thank you to the Big Mouth Billy Bass for showing up and watching the episode with us. And in light of your line of work, sir, here's a little song that I wrote. You might like to sing it note for note. Take me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls.
Let's see if you can.
Give a little
Oh.
That's not how it goes.